That's so great. It is an honor to be sitting here right now. Huge honor.
Go ahead.
Goes both ways.
I'll let everyone in. We have a good turnout today.
How many? There's some people I know. Oh.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Morning.
Hi, morning. It's time.
Alex, nice to see you.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Great. Hi, Mary.
Number 24.
Yeah, you guys are my fourth meeting today.
Wow, Jeff, you must be tired.
Oh, I mean, what are you going to do, given the circumstances? So.
It's so great to see everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So for those of you who haven't tuned in yet, a couple of Zoom rules. Please mute yourself when you're not speaking. We recommend speaker view for presentation. Video sharing is optional, though we love to see all your friendly faces. And then we will have a 5-minute Q&A at the end of this Lunch and Learn with our special guest, Dave Ericson. And if you have any questions throughout his presentation or any comments you want to share, please type them into the chat. We'll have time for you to unmute yourself as well. If you want to save a question, we'd love to hear from you. So that will be at the end. And then we are going to change it up a little bit. Instead of doing our weekly update from Autism Tree, we are going to watch our ATPF virtual auction video to the beginning. Hold on one sec. And our virtual auction, I'm so excited. We've been working so hard this week, all week. So if you haven't registered, please do. We're all over social media, and I've been calling and texting people. If you want to register and need the details, please let me know. You can reach out to me directly. And this is our 3-minute virtual auction video.
Can everyone wave hello? Okay, amazing.
It's a tremendous privilege, and it's both an opportunity for me to reconnect with the friends and family of the Autism Tree Project Foundation.
I just want to welcome everyone for coming to our weekly Lunch and Learn. This is a new series from Autism Tree.
We just want to make this easier for parents, and I think ATPF's been kind of leading that charge.
Hello ATPF family, my name is Franciele Balu. I am a speech language pathologist, and today I am going to give you a couple of tips about fun activities that you can do with your kids.
Now today we are doing an experiment that involves Coke and Mentos, and we're going to watch them react.
Hi, my name is Ryan Letza with the La Jolla chapter of the National League of Young Men. Scholastic has approved my reading of this, and this is Knuffle Bunny 2 by Mo Willems.
Today we're going to be reading Calvin and Hobbes.
Hello boys and girls, my name is Nathan. I'm going to read to you Brown Bear, what do you see?
This little fish, I said to Mr. Carp. I want him, I like him, and he likes me. I will call him Otto.
Hey, I've got an idea. Let's play Drive the Bus. I'll go first. You are a gift to me, sent from above. One will I always cherish and love.
I really like it. It's very simple, and it's something to always keep in mind, to be kind.
right. Well, thank you all for watching. As you can see, this was actually made by 2 of our interns. Shout out to Andrew and Evan. They did a wonderful job basically encapsulating everything that Autism Tree has done, all of our impact since March. We have impacted over 390,000 people, reached over 390,000 through all of our social media channels. And so this virtual auction, our goal is to raise $10,000. Through this virtual auction, we'll have a silent auction, wine champagne pull, and opportunity drawing packages that are amazing. You should definitely check it out. Our video you can find on our YouTube channel. I can also send you the link in the recap email that has our 32 auctions website. All of our website is live, so you can check them out now. I definitely recommend it, and please register today. We hope to see you. It opens this Friday on September 25th at 5 a.m. and it'll be open for the whole weekend until Sunday night at 8 p.m. Thank you all. Now I'm going to pass it over to Dana, who's our co-founder and volunteer executive director, and she's going to introduce our special guest today.
Thank you, Rebecca. So proud of you, Rebecca, for how hard you've been working with the interns, you know, all summer really. And this is just a huge project. Whenever we do events like this, was supposed to be our Sweet 16 Gala before COVID-19 hit and shelter in place. And we've been working on it well over 2 years. So it's just such a blessing that we are able to do pivots and learn new things. And we've never done a virtual auction before. So huge gratitude to Rebecca and her team of a large amount of interns. Sometimes we've been up to 22. And I like to think that Rebecca is the mother of all of our interns and so nurturing and bringing out the best in everybody. And so I'm super proud of her, and I'm really grateful to each of you to get behind this virtual auction that's coming up. It's been a tremendous effort, and we won't be successful without you. Congratulations, guys. I want you to know I'm going to bring my question up in a minute, and you're all going to be part of it. And every week, I'm not ready yet, Becca, not yet, not yet. No, just keep me on the screen for a minute. Hi, yes, everybody give Rebecca love. Thank you for doing that, Alex. I just want to say that each week has meant so much. There is simply no way to exaggerate how much each Lunch and Learn is unique of itself. And the way that I've just organically evolved into doing it is, as you know, to introduce each speaker as a member of the Autism Tree family. Some speakers I certainly know better than others, and Dave Ericson, who you guys are all going to meet today, I can say without hesitation, it's taken me the entire week to reflect on Dave and just literally be speechless, because this is such an uncharted time with this global pandemic that I have forgotten large pockets of space and time. I'm sure you have too. And I just kept taking my breath away, like, oh my God, and we did this together, Dave, and we did that together, Dave. And just to the point where when I saw him today, I was so in tears at the pre-call, just thinking, I can't believe all the work that Dave has done for Autism Tree, and you'll see with me. So I wanted to kick it off first by telling you how I met Dave. And that actually took a while for Becca and I. That was quite a few edits as to what year Dave honestly started at ATPF. It seems so simple, but somehow right now with this global pandemic, it was quite a number of days to figure out. Dave and I met in 2014 when Garrett, my son, was a freshman in high school. And his best buddy's mother did a coffee at her house for all the 2018 moms, and it was a special come early and have a garden tour of their home. And that was it. And I thought, oh, that sounds really fun. Well, I ended up sitting out front of the house all morning because one of our moms was having sort of a really difficult day, and I really was sad because I was looking so forward to it. So I was there, but I missed the garden tour because I was sitting out front on the phone. So I go in late, and Dave is standing at the end of his tour, and he's by a koi fish pond in the garden. And I'm listening to him, and I just will never forget it, because he was talking about how he had met this man, and he was dying of cancer, and they had taken his koi fish. And I looked at Dave, I didn't know him, and he had like a little tear coming down his beautiful face and his little blue eyes, because he just loved that guy so much. And here were his koi fish, and they were still taking care of him. And I knew that this wasn't his home, that he was giving a tour of the garden. And I just saw the most unique man I've ever met. Like, I just thought, I've never met someone like this man. So I said to him, I'm sorry, I was late to the tour. Is there any way you could show me maybe like the 3 most special places of the garden that you love? And he just, I remember he paused and he said, I've given like hundreds of tours, I think he said, of this garden, or 100 tours of this garden, and no one's ever asked me that. And it's just turned into this, I feel like it was like a Narnia moment or something with Dave. I've never had that experience of someone taking me through this really like, it felt like a fairy tale or something, parts of the garden, and each one of them had a really beautiful story that it would take me the whole lunch and learn to tell you. But I met Dave, and he toured this garden, and it is still, I remember everything about it. And then at the end of it, I said to him, Dave, can I go and get my friend that's inside? She missed it too. And Dave's going to talk about who the friend is. And I said, can I give her the tour? Because I wanted to remember it, because it was so special. And I think what really hit me is the depth of, you can go into a garden and miss all the meaning. And the meaning is what stayed with me, and it stayed with me that moment. And even in that moment, I knew, like, I don't want to forget this. This is something that is so special. And what it turns out is this is how Dave is wherever he goes. And so as we unveil the things that Dave has done at Autism Tree, it's like each one is something that it kind of takes my breath away. And I just think that's how Dave lives. He somehow connects with people wherever he is on such a depth level that you'll remember back to that moment with Dave and just be so touched by it, inspired by it, and quite frankly, changed from it. So with that, I'm going to bring up the question for today. And it's, if you would participate with me, because it's so fun after, we do the lunch and learn and the follow-up, we get to see everybody's input, and it makes your voice come alive. Thank you for this photo Daniel Wright sent in. I love having these real life photos. This is spring 2019, so a little over a year ago. Beautiful. How can you cultivate moments of hope in your life? For me, definitely, it's cultivating hopes is like right here, right now, is reflecting and being together, like reflecting on Dave and then being with him right now with you. It's really being with people in your life, and sometimes taking a pause moment to really look at, wow, what have we done together? What has Dave done at Autism Tree? And sharing this together. So cultivating moments of hope is reflecting on those in our lives that are making such a difference. And sometimes we actually forget all the incredible things that they've done to make our world and our life better. With that, I'm going to show a 1-minute video, and this all ties to Dave's work at Autism Tree, planting seeds. So this is just only 1 minute, but if you can engage and look at it, it's going to be a metaphor, or it's going to be Dave. Then I'm going to show the real world example of this with Dave at Autism Tree. So thank you for watching this 1 minute.
Meet Mia. Mia's big on volume, but not on without ingredients. She knows Love Beauty and Planet shampoos are made with ingredients she can feel good about. Mia loves boosting her volume and giving a little love to the planet.
video and I knew I was going to use it for your introduction. But then when we started putting the pictures together, they're just worth so much. The first one I'm going to show is the garden area. Garrett still has this, which I find remarkable. He put it up on his cover picture on the back of his Facebook in 2017. And even then I thought that was kind of interesting that Garrett chose that picture. And he's kept it up there. That's since he was in high school. Next year he's graduating college and he keeps that picture up there. And I can't speak for him why he does that, but the fact is he does. And I think it's, I think there, you know, it's deep what Dave did. And so you look at that picture and it's like the start of the time-lapse 1-minute video we just watched. And this is all Dave's idea, his relationship with the Del Mar Fairground, being doing all the gardens and flowers over there during their many events like the Del Mar races, and creating a garden and educating about Autism Tree. Hi, John. Looking back at all the lives we have impacted through our programs over the years. I love that, John. I feel that. So if you go to the next slide, thinking of the time-lapse video that we just watched, this is Dave. And these actually, these pictures right here were texts that Dave sent me from the Del Mar Fair as he was creating this idea really organically. He had hearts, and he can speak to this more, but this is my version, Dave, is these are in my phone still. I came across them in this last week doing a reflection on you and was just so touched by each one, because each one you took this photo, you said, I offered them to do a heart of someone with autism, and it's fully incredible. These are little, each photo is a seed, and this is just a little snapshot of thousands in over the years at the garden that Dave created and for Autism Tree to be just a huge awareness for the foundation, and actually just such a picture of love. We go to the next one. It really, the next slide, I mean, it looks like a Disney quality to it, especially if you look at the behind the table. I mean, imagine each one of those hearts is like a seed, and it was all just something that Dave started kind of really innocently, really just, oh, I'll try this, and then he kept running out of hearts, and he would call and he would text and say, I need more hearts. And it's fully remarkable. And I don't know if Dave knows, like, just the whole thing, it just is so level to me. I can't do a good job of putting it all into words, but the pictures do. The pictures really capture it. Just like I feel like that time-lapse video is so perfect to show the power of one seed. And then you look at what Dave's done, and it's thousands of seeds that he's planted. And he did this fair exhibit for 3 years. And these photos, each year, you see there's a little different dynamic to it, and it gets a little bit more complicated and involved. And you got, you know, one of the Disney gardeners involved in that far right corner. It's just, I'm not doing a good job in words, Dave, because it seriously touches me so level and takes my breath away, thinking of the depth of everything in these photos and what you actually individually did by being open and fluid. If you think about it right now, you know, with being in shelter in place in the global pandemic, you have to really be in the moment. And Dave was doing this before a global pandemic. He was really being in the moment and going with it and then just embracing it. And look what happened. It's just, and there's so many stories around this, but those are the Cliff Note highlights from me. Here's the quote that I picked out for you, Dave. Every week I pick a quote out that is really in reflection of the speaker, and that this is you, Dave. If you'll let me read it slowly. Imagine your mind like a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. You get to choose what seeds you plant in it. You can plant seeds of positivity, love, and abundance, or you can plant seeds of negativity, fear, and lack. You can also spend time trying to take care of everyone else's garden, or you can work on making your own beautiful and attract other beautiful people to your garden, which is absolutely Dave Ericson. And Dave, I can't thank you enough. There's more slides to come to look back right now. I'm going to bring them up. Dave personally has gotten, over the years, all the years we've been at the fair with him, he's gotten over 1,500 fair tickets donated to our families. It's fully remarkable. I remember the first year we got 200 and we ran out. And the next year, I think he doubled it. And Dave just kept going back when we'd say we'd have a waiting list for the fair tickets. And he just keep going back and getting more and more. 1,500 fair tickets for our families over the years. I mean, just amazing. And you look at these photos, and the far photos are from the early days at the fair. I think Garrett's a freshman in that far left one. And Dave always talks about cards. He'll tell you the significance of that playing card right there and the meaning behind it. And just Dave introduced us to the executives and the staff at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. I mean, our relationship there is fully incredible. And the entire reason we did our first 1,000-person luncheon at the Del Mar Fairgrounds is all because of Dave Ericson. And we'll bring up those photos. This is from 2016, and Garrett's there with Dave's beautiful wife, Sue. Underneath that is our committee meeting that we had for the fair. These events take 2 years for us to do a 1,000-person luncheon. For those of you that haven't got to be at one, we don't sell tickets. We sell tables, and we have table ambassadors. And you see the artwork behind me is the breakfast at Tiffany's that Joel created. Had bid on it because I had to have it, and I love having it in my house. Thank God we won that masterpiece of Joel's, but our last luncheon, Breakfast at Tiffany's 2018, was so special, and that swing that Garrett's on was the photo op spot that Dave Ericson created, and we used over and over again after it, many events. And just incredible what this event did here at the Del Mar Fairground was really bring Autism Tree's awareness to how much we want to screen all preschoolers in San Diego. Head Start preschoolers, there's over 10,000, and that's why we took it on. One of our Head Start preschoolers got diagnosed with autism, and then his mother left him, and his grandmother took on raising him. So there was a whole catalyst behind this movement to do a 1,000-person luncheon, and Dave was at the epicenter of finding us a place to have 100 tables of 10. And I want to bring a throwback slide, because I'm sorry I missed it, Rebecca, from when Dave, I had forgot that you designed this epic hat. We do a hat event every year, and we're so blessed that we did this. The Gold Diggers are no longer around, but they were around for a very long time, and we would compete for fun annually against a lot of big foundations in town, and it was a great awareness for us and a lot of fun. And Dave designed our 2016 hat. It's all, as you can see, beautiful plants, and he created it, and it was unbelievable. And our hat model, Patty Chavez, it was so big she had to like hold it as she was walking down the runway. And I just had so much joy when I saw these photos, and I had forgot that we did this, Dave. So with that, I just want to share with you that there is simply no way that I could exaggerate the absolute. I was looking back through all the stuff of David's and some of the posts at ATPF's Heavenly Gardener, and I love that. But for me, Dave is just some kind of angel like no one I've ever met before. And if you haven't met him, you are going to love meeting him. And if you do know him, you're going to love seeing him today like I did. Love you so much, Dave, and welcome to your first Lunch and Learn, our 24th.
Am I on? Okay. How can I follow that? Are you kidding me? Thank you. I love you too. All right, there you are. God, I'm just going to add a little bit because you said so much, and I prepared for a week of what I was going to say, but you just caused so many things to come forward in my mind that I need to say it. First of all, that tour that I met you on, I actually had 1,500 people prior to you and Laura Kane come that day. And it was only you two that actually took the tour. You came late, she came late, but only you two. No one else wanted a tour. Do you know that out of 1,500 people that have toured it, I have never had a better tour than that? Why? Because you guys were asking me questions that made it so different. The backstories of a landscape is really, any new landscape I do always has to have a backstory or it doesn't go, it doesn't work. So thank you for that memory. That was crazy. I love both of you and Laura. That day was huge for me. Number two, the how I got started. That's how I met you guys. But this is how I got started. And a gal right across the street at Ralph's, she made this morning. Her name is Caitlin. I never met her before. She's awesome. And I explained what I would like to do. And if there was time, but I doubt there will be time, I was going to explain how to make a flower arrangement so that if you had somebody at home and you wanted to go out in the garden, pick some flowers and make a flower arrangement, you would have the fundamentals of how to create a flower arrangement. Because they have line flowers up here, and then they have filler flowers. They have green down here. You have an accent. Do you see this accent right here? That's one red rose. And that's where I'm going with this. Just a second, I gotta put this. There. That's where it goes. And this is how, by the way, I can't believe I'm crying like my eyes out right now because everything you just said. But this might make me cry right there because when I was a 10-year-old boy, my dad gave me the rose garden to take care of. And I went out there and it was so fun to be in the garden, and I saw butterflies, hummingbirds, and fragrances and just beauty open up in a bud of roses. So one Saturday morning, I brought my mom some of those roses. I took the little thorns off. I picked just the right ones. It was a arrangement, but all roses, not just like that one rose. And the look, the sound, the feel of joy all over my mother is probably where I was first starting to do that seed exhibit you were just now talking about, because that was joy. And my older brother, Gary, who's no longer with us, he always said about your comment or your question, he always said, you live 21 days without food, 3 days without water, not a minute without hope. And that's what I wrote down on this paper as you asked that question. And I'm reflecting on Gary, and I'm reflecting on Mom. And soon when we jump into these pictures, you're gonna see that this is the day that's different from the one that was prior to 10 years old, but pretty much now I'm that person. Thanks to my mom, my dad, and all the other people in my life, siblings and friends, including everybody on that screen that I can see. Hi, Glenn, hi, Karen. So here we go with the first grade, yeah. All right, so I am now calling myself, because it was Joel Anderson that labeled me as Gardener Dave. Well now, because of what you're about to hear, I've changed my name to Superhero Gardener Dave. It was about a month ago, Sue and I took 2 of our grandkids to the restaurant, and it was an outdoor, a lot of people there. And the youngest grandchild had us all dress up in superhero outfits. We had these capes on, we had masks on to cover our eyes, and they were all for the child size, but we could hardly see out of it because the eyes you couldn't see out, and the thing was choking my neck because the cape was so short. But the point is, when we walked through that restaurant, I can't tell you how many people were either applauding us or saying, those got to be the best grandparents here, because we did look ridiculous, but we looked ridiculously happy, because there we are with our grandchildren. And that's where I actually got this superhero thing, because there is a need. You can go on to the next slides now. And that's my 2 granddaughters. And of course, we know Kobe is no longer with us, but this was about 2 or 3 weeks before he passed away. And my 2 grandkids at Ontario Christian High School, who has only 400 kids in the student body, beat the Division II high schools, which I think his daughter was one of, to get to the finals of the state of California Division II volleyball championship. And next slide, I think it's next slide. No, it's not. Is how we won. They won. They actually won it. Those 2 kids there. But here's what happened down in my past. Okay, you can go back. I'm good. In that great picture. And Kobe has inspired me even after, actually profoundly after his passing. So next slide. That's my father-in-law. He was 37 when he passed away. My sister-in-law was 48. My wife was 43. This is what I'm heading towards now in the last phase of my life, and I'm not going to stop. And the superhero title came today. You were hearing it for the first time. Next slide. Hard to watch that slide for too long. Next slide, please. There. Okay, you already saw two of my grandkids. Whoops. I'm not in charge of that, but my wonderful assistant over there is. By the way, if you have, okay, while you still have it in my head, let me tell you about my assistant over there. It's Becca. I love her to death. And the reason why I'm wearing this hat, because I came in and I wasn't wearing this hat, and the glow in here, she came out with these glasses on. All right. Becca is, everybody loves her. I'm actually fibbing, but that's why I'm wearing this hat. Mostly because my brother-in-law was the owner of In-N-Out, Guy Snyder. Dear, dear guy, we had so many great conversations. And this is my segue now into what I'm going to be talking about. And can you imagine if what I'm going to talk about was run by a company like In-N-Out Burger with people in it, like now Lindsay is the only surviving Lindsay, and she's an amazing person, as was her dad, Guy. And that's what he gave me, this hat. And any huge event, I wear this hat. This to me is a huge hat. And it only comes out a few times a year, but this is the day I'm bringing it out. Back to these people. So you already met my two granddaughters. Well, this is my grandson. My granddaughter, who just had a baby 4 months ago, which makes me a great-grandfather. That's my great-granddaughter right there. And then, of course, I had a puppy just like that, a dog, for many, many years. And you're about to see where we're heading with all of this. Next slide. I have been through, besides those tombstones you saw, too many times I've seen people in that bed there. Next slide. Can't watch that one very long either. Okay, here's Laura and other people that I absolutely adore. And that was the tour. In fact, that was the picture Dana took in front of one of the plants. And that's the day we met. And to this day, if either of those, anybody in that picture is in trouble, I will not sleep until they're out of trouble. So next slide. Okay, I'm heading towards the point of all of this, but I'm just kind of teasing you with these things. Our state senator, Mike Morrell, know him very well, had 2 dinners with him so far. That's us at a camp called Hume Lake. You know that one. And that, of course, is Brian Jones, another state senator in San Diego. And the two of them I have met with, especially Mike, and he is all in favor of what I'm about to talk about. And I'm in charge of putting together something. I don't know what it is yet. In fact, if anybody you know that would be interested in helping pull together something like that, I have no idea what it takes to hand to a senator and then take it to Sacramento and turn it into some kind of law where none of us have to look at somebody in the cemetery or in that hospital bed before. Next slide. Okay, and we're also going to use the media. This was last year at the fairgrounds. KOSI, wonderful person interviewed us. Next slide. And even Hollywood. That's my son-in-law there in the striped shirt. You know, Adam Sandler and his wife Jackie. They're wonderful, wonderful people. And they each have 2 kids and 4 kids. So by them, this is another way I think we can focus on the issue I'm about to talk about. I have not asked them about it. They know nothing about it, but the superhero thing I don't care who I ask. Next slide. They will be big. Okay, so what am I talking about? I'm talking about organic landscaping. You all know that 20 years or so ago, the phrase organic gardening came out. And that meant you're not going to use pesticides on gardens where you eat something. So now, after all of these years with all of the hospitals I've been in and cemeteries, now it has to be organic landscaping. The same principles and products that we used now in the organic gardening part of it needs to be used in this. I've been doing this for 55 years because you remember the story of the roses. That's when I knew that I was going to do this for the rest of my life. I was a 10-year-old boy. Now I'm 67. That's 57 years of doing this, that now after the last 3 years, I disconnected the TV and I just read, write, and study. I go to seminars and conferences, and I am talking to people that are the top in their fields. And we have to make a change, because some of those deaths and some of those conditions we now are suffering is because, I believe, of the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and even synthetic fertilizers. It is not good, period. And this is an example. That's the before. 1 year later, nothing was growing there. And that was a long-term garden that the people just could not get it going. I came in 1 year ago and planted it with things that were about 6 feet tall or shorter. Next slide will show you what happened a year later. There it is. All right, who isn't dropping their jaw on this one? See the size and the growth and the lushness of it all? Believe it or not, there's less pesticides. In fact, we haven't used any pesticides, hadn't had to. The plants are so healthy. It's very much like us. If we don't take care of ourselves, then we have to take pills and we have to take supplements. We got to do all kinds of other stuff. Well, the same thing with plants. If you grow a healthy plant in a healthy soil, because it's a healthy soil, I'll get into that in just a second, this will be the result. That's the same exact dirt as you just saw. Next slide. This is the same one, this in the, okay, I'll get into this. Organic gardening also means less water and easier to care for. So one example is the little house, doll house, is a 1 inch depth of soil on the top roof there. And 1 year later, that's what the same plant is. And growing in Ontario, California, super hot. And it is the same product that is in those cracks of the flagstone. It's called Carpet of Stars. And besides introducing organic fertilizers, fungicides, and all that stuff, I'm also introducing things that save water. And by the way, at the fairgrounds last year, I had a guy ask me, because I was introducing it to them, and he said, can I jump up on that ground cover up there? He took his shoes off and he jumped up and he goes, I'm a foot reflexologist and you're going to ruin my business. All somebody has to do is walk on that stuff. And then whatever you get from reflexology therapy, it comes off of that same plant. And the one on the right, again, the roots go 3.5 feet deep. It's a lawn substitute. You don't have to mow it. You don't have all the pollution going on from mowing a lawn. Both of these can be wonderful lawns. Next slide. Oh, wow. Okay, we're almost out of time. My mentor was the head of SeaWorld for 25 years. And then he became my dear friend. And for 10 years, we did projects together. One day he pointed, this is like 30 years ago, he pointed at a blower. And he said, that's going to be banned someday. This is me driving through the blower on the street across from the Del Mar Fairgrounds. And look at what happened on the lower picture of that. It came into my air vents. It filled up my car. Fortunately, I didn't have a great granddaughter in my car seat, but imagine that. I live in a place called Canyon Lake, and that is wonderful, wonderful. I love it, the community, and I've been very active in their horticulture to try to get them organic. I'm getting there. A huge landscape company was in charge of it. And I saw the guy one day spraying right by the lake. And I said, what are you spraying? He says, Roundup. And I went right to the property manager and I said, can't do it. It came out, stopped the guy. The next month I see the guy out there. I says, you using some Roundup? Oh, no, we don't use that stuff anymore. Oh, thank you, man. That's great. What do you use? And he says, it's cleanup. Oh, I broke a tooth. I could open my mouth now and gross you all out. There's a broken tooth in there because I got so angry. Cleanup is Roundup. It's glyphosate. It just changed the cover on the thing. So that's the kind of reason why I'm now Superhero Gardener Dave. And that company got fired, by the way. And I'm also David. So it was David taking down Goliath. We have a wonderful company now that's taking care of it. And they're doing a fine job organically. Next slide. Because I have about 3 minutes. We're even starting the whole process of organic filtering filters that storm drain. That underneath that, there's a filter that's organic. You got to clean it once a month, but oh well, it's no longer going in on a lake. Next slide. Water system. I got a sample of it right here in front of me. I don't know if you see this, but it's a little piece of paper that when you put 1 pound of pressure in the thing swells open. And imagine that. This is the old-fashioned way. Believe it or not, drip system is going to become old-fashioned. Wherever you have the little drippers where the water goes. That system, this stuff right here, will control how much water comes out of the pores that is in that pipe. Okay? It controls it. The root asks for water with a hormone that it releases, and that pipe can sense it, opens its pores, waters it until the hormone is no longer there, and then it shuts itself back down. Can you imagine the water savings in that? It's about 60%. Next slide. So in other words, you see I'm trying to attack this from all kinds of angles. This is at Joel's house. And the one on the left is giant whitefly. We all know how bad that is to try to get rid of. And I have a product, a whole product line. I'm not here to sell anybody's stuff. I'm here to increase awareness.
I haven't had a chance to eat it.
I just came over, my speaker's talking to me. But anyway, bottom line is that's 1 spraying of that product. And it's natural organics, 100% clean. And I've been using it now for about 6 months. And 1 spraying, and 4 days later, in the 2nd spraying, there is absolutely no giant whitefly on that huge hibiscus. Next slide. This, if you don't remember anything else today from this talk, other than the love that you guys all just pouring onto me right now, this is the one to watch. This is Kathy Kellogg Johnson. She is part of the Kellogg family that does Kellogg soil. And in 1955 or whatever year, her great-grandfather or grandfather worked with Walt Disney and made Disney what it is today, horticulturally. And you must watch that thing. It's really, really good. Next one. Benefits. Okay, we know that one. Hummingbirds and butterflies, they're all over our yard all of the time. Next one. Herbs can be in a vertical garden. I'm doing it at certain gardens, and it really works well. That's an indoor houseplant thing. And the other thing is, yes, we can use synthetic turf, but let's do it in such a way, a higher end seams, it shows its seam, whereas this system doesn't. I'm going to use the same video for lecturing at horticulture societies. Next slide. We're almost done. Orchids, is that beautiful or what? That's where I met Dana and Laura. Next slide. That's an orchid plant. It's just thrives. That's the same garden there. And we have papayas hanging off the tree. It's just a paradise. Next slide. Wonderful people too. They're a paradise. Our home in Rancho Cucamonga before we moved to Canyon Lake. And that's just one example of taking 7 different plants, putting it all in one spot, and they're all fragrant. And when you add those fragrances together, you end up with a perfume. And this is even a tunnel that I've created out of it. So next slide. I'm practicing. Oh, even drain systems, that's inside of a drain. Always watch out for your drain systems. Otherwise, black mold goes into your house. Next slide. And I think that's our last slide because that's the grand finale. And my favorite first pitch, honorary first pitch of any. And John and I were there that day. It was just a great memory, a great time. And that's when I met him. So there you go. Did I finish the slides?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you guys. Any questions?
Thank you, Dave. That was amazing. For anybody who didn't know, Phil Senesgal is one of our board members, and he was the one who threw out the winning pitch. So that's who was showed and who Dave and John were cheering on in the stands for Phil. It was an incredible opportunity. Oh, Alex is one of our board members as well. Thanks, Alex, for tuning in. She said, that is when I met you too, Dave. I love it. Dave, you are such an angel to all of us at Autism Tree. And I just want to say real quick, we are at about time, but if anybody wants to stay, we'll stay on for a couple more minutes and answer some questions that you have. We are happy to do that. And I just wanted to say, Dave, you emanate love everywhere you go and positivity. And like Dana's quote of the day, people who have big hearts gravitate towards you everywhere you go. And it just amazes me. And I'm so blessed to know you. And I know everybody who comes into contact with you has made like a lifelong friend, and you're just so wonderful. So thank you so much for being a part of our community, and we're so grateful for you.
Last thing I wanted to say, can you still see this?
Yeah.
Okay, go to your doctor and he doesn't have a stethoscope and he doesn't have a thermometer, especially nowadays, and go to a different doctor. Well, if a landscaper does not have this tool on his person, get a different landscaper or gardener, or if anybody knows a POA or HOA that needs somebody that can straighten out whoever they have, like I did with the David and Goliath thing, this is really all you need. It's a soil probe, and after you watch that Kathy Kellogg Johnson thing, you'll see why. They must have it or get a new one. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I love it, Dave. And everybody I will send out a recap email for with all of Dave's PowerPoint slides and more resources that he was talking about during his presentation. So you can all look into it, as well as his contact information. So if you have any questions, you can ask him and reach him. If nobody has any questions, I'll give it a minute.
I do.
Oh, great. Hi, Nancy. Go ahead.
I'm incognito. You're not supposed to say my name. Anyway, I have a question for Dave.
Yes.
Dave, you talked about those white flies.
Yes.
And I used Dr. Bonner's watered out peppermint oil with water for them. Is that okay?
Yes, yes. That's actually, peppermint is one of the ingredients in here. And again, I'm not here promoting anybody's specific thing. You can always go through me on a email type of thing to get the specifics. But yeah, that's a good one. This is just has everything, not just for whitefly, but everything in one spraying, and then a 4-day follow-up, and you're done. It's not back.
Okay, I got another question. I've been noticing people have cactuses in their front yards, and I have a little one in my side yard, and they've got that white stuff starting to grow on it.
Okay.
So would that peppermint oil or something do it? Because I see it even on the little fruit.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do I tell people to fix that?
Well, if specifically, I would need a picture to confirm it, but it can be a scale that gets on, as a mealybug that's white that gets on there. And then there's also a fungus that can be growing on the thing. So it's hard to say, but that particular line is all of those things, even a point of organic fertilizer, no longer steroid fertilizer. And that's what I called synthetic stuff. And remember those pictures, how great the place was? It wasn't any of your old fashioned typical, big time fertilizers. It's the nature stuff. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to pick your brain for a quick second.
Yeah.
And then I have another animal question for you. I have a chrysalis that I watched being made on a thing.
Yeah.
How long do they stay in that chrysalis phase? Because it's still there, and I'm afraid that it's not going to come out.
Oh, well, it may, but if that's a bucket list for me, because I've seen it on photo, but when it turns black, it's got like 13 hours and 2 seconds in there to come out and open up. That's a wonderful thing. It's on Google. You can look at it for yourself. But remember the little boy, 10-year-old in the rose garden? I saw butterflies, but I never got, it's been 57 years. I'm waiting to see the chrysalis open. But just don't use any pesticides or even your neighbor, because that's what kills that's what kills it.
Yeah, because I am definitely in the market for a gardener, not at my house, at someone else's. And I have a feeling they're doing spraying, and I'm looking around to get somebody else.
Yes.
Because I'm like you, I don't think it's necessary to poison the planet we have.
Well, to close it, if we have to, if anybody knows or has a POA, HOA, city, even our state, that's what I'm really going after. But in the meantime, the POAs and HOAs have to do their due diligence and find the right kind of product and or safe thing going on in their properties. So that's available. If anybody has anybody they know, let me know that, and I can go to property managers all over Southern California. That's my plan. San Diego to Santa Barbara.
Thank you, Dave. All right, we're at about time.
Hey, I just want to do a real quick. Dave, thank you so much for inspiring me to not only today get outside for this Zoom call with my hibiscus in the background and my hibiscus shirt inspired by the Dave Ericson fashion line. And I wanted to share this that I got from Dana and Lisa a few years ago. It's my heart-shaped succulent garden. Because, you know, ain't nothing but love for you in the garden, Dave. Appreciate you and everything you've done. And let's do a Padre game again someday soon.
Bingo. And watch Phil throw out the first pitch.
Or Dave throw out the first pitch.
I know, I got the chills just seeing you. This is great. Thank you, John.
All right, thank you so much everyone for joining. I would like to take a quick group picture of everyone. If you want to share your video, this would be the time to do it. We would love to see all your friendly faces, and I'll take a screenshot. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. All right, thank you everyone for joining. Have a very happy Wednesday, and we hope to see you next week.
Thanks so much.
Take care, guys.
Have a good day.
I know.